What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Outlaw Nation Show here tonight, live on the Outlaw Nation channel. I am the Outlaw John Rocha, saying hello to all of you. Justin, I got a new mic set up, so I'm trying to kind of work it with my hands. You know, I'm an expressive person, got my hands, so I'm bound to bump into the mic or anything like that, or a few times tonight. So just letting you know right off the bat. How are you doing? How are things? How's it going in your world? How you feeling? How's your life treating you on this Tuesday night or Tuesday evening, Tuesday afternoon, whenever you're listening or watching us, or maybe it's even tomorrow when you're watching, or the day after, or the day after that. Who knows? I love it. I love when people come and watch the episode throughout the week and enjoy some of the stuff I'm saying, and also, kind of come back at me on some of the stuff I'm saying. That's fun. Tonight we were supposed to have Paul Oyama as my guest tonight, but unfortunately some family obligations came up for him over the weekend. Totally understood that. And so I'm just hosting the show by myself tonight, hanging out with you all, talking about all kinds of things that are on my mind and all kinds of things that I got going on in the world. Certainly want to hear from all of you, of course, as we go along. Hey, you've seen me kind of changing the channel, kind of molding the channel. We're doing a little bit less of those live shows. We've already let go of Impolite Truths. We'll be making some adjustments. So live is when the big live shows we do now are the Outlaw Nation Show. Of course, John and Wendy Save the World. Every month, I think we do Jedi Way live, and of course, Strong Style live every Saturday, and every once in a while we'll do a live Geek Buddies review. But this is the Outlaw Nation Show. This is the flagship show of the channel, so any support you can send in as we go along. Streamlabs super chats are much appreciated as we're making these adjustments, making these changes. It's going to be support from you all on shows like this that keep it possible, make it possible to keep creating more and more content and bringing more and more people into the Outlaw Nation overall. So thank you very much for everyone who's been doing that. And yes, we crossed 17,000 subscribers a few days ago, so that's awesome. Start working towards 18,000, hopefully hitting 20,000 at some point really soon down the road. Doing more and more of that stuff, doing more of my reviews, more of my trailer reactions, more of all of that going on, pre-produced videos and what have you on my channel. Really looking at doing one for Red Guardian, so I might do a deep dive into Red Guardian and do a video on that as well. And the reason I'm saying that is because I had a chance to watch Black Widow today. I got sent the link, watched it comfortably here in my office, and I'll have some thoughts about that later on in the show. I'm also going to be talking about the Slave One controversy. That really is blowing up all over social media and the Star Wars world. Of course, if you do anything, it becomes the battle, and the other side always thinks that the other side is the Empire, and they're the plucky resistance who is out there fighting the Empire. But of course, it's all the Empire is in the eye of the beholder, I guess you would say, overall in this situation. So we'll get into that as well. Also, a friend sent me some of these comments that Bill Maher made about In the Heights and cancel culture and colorism. So we're going to take a look at what Bill Maher said, and I'll give you my 2 cents on that, and jump into that Many Saints of Newark trailer that came out today. I already recorded a trailer reaction for that I'll be dropping in the morning, but we'll get into it a little more deeply here tonight as well. Maybe get some of your thoughts. And of course, please keep sending in your Streamlabs super chats. I'll address anything you guys want to talk about tonight. Send in any questions you might have had through the week or whatever's going on in the world of entertainment or sports, pro wrestling, what have you. It's all wide open tonight, but you're just hanging out with me tonight. And I hope you've had a really good day and you're kicking back, or maybe if you had a rough day, you're kicking back with your legs up on the desk, your beer open, or wine open, or just a Coke, or maybe some water, or maybe iced tea like I have. Whatever it is, sit back, relax. Let's have a good time. You're in good hands here on the Outlaw Nation Show. Much love to Sean Berto, who's producing tonight. Thank you, Sean, for being behind the scenes. Really appreciate it. If you all can, give me a like on this video as well as you're watching it. If you're watching it later, leave a like and a comment. Those are important as well. So much to talk about, so much going on in the world of entertainment, the world of sports, a little bit about the world in pro wrestling. So much is happening in our world, a little bit of politics as well is going down. Some craziness is going down there as well. So it's all happening now. We are back in full swing. And there's also a Delta variant hanging around, and people are reacting to that as well. Here in California, Gavin Newsom 2 weeks ago said everything is cool. We're lifting the ban. Everybody hang out, do your thing. I was just at a baseball stadium a few days ago with 40,000 plus people in the stadium and nary a mask. And now with this Delta variant, he is telling Californians to wear their mask even inside when they go to restaurants, go to whatever, and what have you. So we'll see how long that holds up, and we'll see what happens with that. But we have that hanging around us as well. So we're not really fully out of the woods yet on this whole situation, on this whole pandemic for sure. So another thing to tell you here on the Outlaw Nation channel, I've started getting onto Twitch. I don't know if some of you know that, but I am on Twitch now under the account The Outlaw Nation. I might change it to the Rocha Says, so everything is like uniform across the board. We shall see. But I am on Twitch now. Did almost 2 hours this morning on the England versus Germany Euro 2020. Did a watch along of that match. People got to watch along. We had to comment. It was a lot of fun. Last night I played Valhalla, the Assassin's Creed Valhalla one, which was a lot of fun. And then I've been playing FIFA. I've been playing Jedi Fallen Order the other day as well, NHL 21. And tomorrow, if I got some time, I'll jump into Red Dead Redemption for an hour or hour and a half and have some fun with that as well. So all of that is happening on Twitch. If you don't follow me on Twitch, head on over to Twitch and follow me now on Twitch, The Outlaw Nation, and see all the stuff I'm doing. And I'm opening the door to maybe creating a couple of shows on Twitch that'll be Twitch-only shows. Twitch-only shows to have a little fun with you all, something new, something fun. I mean, talking to Lady Outlaw, we've been doing our MCU watch-alongs and having fun doing those. And so there's a possibility that we're going to extend that past the watch-along and just turn it into the Outlaws show, or hanging in with the Outlaws, or evening with the Outlaws, or weekend with the Outlaws, something like that. We're still kicking around titles, and you'll just hang out with the Lady Outlaw and get her unique perspectives on all the things. And so those of you who are listening to the MCU watch-alongs on stereo, we've gotten a lot of great messages, a lot of great responses over the last few weeks. I think people are really enjoying Lady Outlaw's point of view on a lot of these MCU movies. We just finished Spider-Man Homecoming, and we're about to jump into Thor Ragnarok. And as a woman who lived for 2 years in New Zealand, the Lady Outlaw is very much looking forward to Thor Ragnarok and seeing if she enjoys it. She's only seen 2 MCU films in her entire life before we started this MCU watch along. And I think we've gotten to every one of the ones that she watched, all 2 of the ones that she watched. And now we're moving on into a little more phase 3, deeper into phase 3 before we wrap it up. And of course, as I say that, Black Widow. So, I'll be talking about that in just a little bit. Absolutely. Lady Outlaw taking over. Of course, she's always taken over. She takes over my life in a positive way. And I love it. I love that my partner is so intelligent, self-possessed, doesn't need me to exist, doesn't need me to stand on her own 2 feet. She does her own thing, and I appreciate that. And we both are separate, powerful entities, and when we come together, we have a really great time because we respect and love each other very much. And it's not like a codependent relationship. We're very, very positive with each other, which I appreciate madly. All right, let's see here. Let's start. What else do I want to tell you? So I got a little bit of a big announcement. I guess I can leave. We're 9 minutes into the show. We started on time. So I'm going to tell you this right now. I got the email, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm going to make the announcement tomorrow on social media. But something really positive has happened. Something I've been working for the last few years, something I've applied for the last 3 years, and finally qualified for. And you'll see the announcement on social media tomorrow. That's right. You'll see the announcement on social media tomorrow. So look on my Twitter and my Instagram. Follow me there at The Rocha Says, and you'll see my announcement there. It's something pretty positive for me, and something that takes possibly the outlet to the next level in terms of respect and appreciation, and hopefully attention from publicists, a little more attention from publicists and the studios in terms of getting some of those guests, getting some of those actors and actresses, getting some of those directors and producers onto the Outlaw Nation for interviews about their work or about their career. So all of that is in motion right now. So I'm not gonna let you know what it is, but let's just say something really positive happened, at least for the next step, and then we'll see where we go from there. All right, let's jump into this thing. So remember, Streamlabs Super Chats are open, so please send in your support for the channel as you go along tonight. You know, like I said, this is the flagship show. This is a show we want to make the most money out of all the other shows. So please show your support for what we're creating. Show your support for what we're doing here as we go along. And please hit that like button as well. All right, so this news dropped as I was kind of working around with things today, this morning, and into the day. But Disney and Lucasfilm, this is coming to us from, from Jedi News. Apparently, the new Mandalorian-themed toy line that features Boba Fett's spaceship has changed the Slave One moniker to read just Boba Fett's Starship. That's what it says here. That's what it's going to be. So they're taking away the Slave One moniker on that for this Lego toy. It's the Fire Spray 31 Class Patrol and Attack Craft. I'm no Alex Damon, so he knows more about that than I do. Originally belonged to his father, Django, and then of course was passed on to Boba Fett. But speaking of Jedi news, Lego designer Michael Lee Stockwell said the toy maker, that's Lego, was no longer using the Slave One name, with fellow designer Jans Kromvold Fredrickson, hope I said that right, adding, quote, "It's probably not something which has been announced publicly, but it is just something that Disney doesn't want to use anymore." And according to this Yahoo story, Disney did not respond to Yahoo with any comment, of course, because Disney is going to release their own statement on their official Twitter account or on their official social media accounts for sure. But this was brought on. I remember they changed the moniker for Slave Leia a few years ago. And of course, they let go of Gina Carano when she made some really inappropriate comments about some stuff. And this caused all kinds of controversy. And of course, today, this is causing all kinds of controversy as well. And this is part of Disney CEO Bob Chapek's approach to, quote, universal values. This is what he's kind of bringing into this, more of inclusivity, listening to people who've had complaints about this. But there was, of course, because it's Star Wars, and of course, because you've got that vocal minority, there was some pushback to this when the news got dropped. And the loudest of one of these pushbacks is Mark Anthony Austin, who appeared uncredited as Boba Fett in the 1997 updated version of Star Wars A New Hope, which is his only acting role. He did some fan-produced web series called No Disintegrations, because, of course, Jeremy Bulloch is the original in Empire Strikes Back, and Tamora Morrison played Jango Fett, and of course it did it as Boba Fett in The Mandalorian as well. But he tweeted, and let me share this with you all so we can read along together and get your reactions to this, because this was a hell of a tweet by this guy. He went on a bit of a run of tweets, to be honest with you, about this. So let's take a look at this real quick. There it is. All right, let's watch it together here. He said, "This ship will forever be Slave One." This is Mark Anthony Austin. "Nothing, not even hashtag Disney, can or will change that. This is the way," using the Mandalorian thing that he didn't come up with at all. Mark Anthony Austin also kept going and said, "Wars sounds harsh, says Disney. Let's change the franchise name to Star Disputes." Then he laughed at his own joke, which, is never a good thing to do. He said, "I hope nobody buys this newly misnamed merchandise." Look at this, saying, "I hope nobody buys this. I vow to not give a single dollar myself." Who knows how much money he actually has. "Now, if it's packaged Slave One, I might." And then, of course, other people chimed in. This guy, Jeremy_4, said, "Disney yet again with the woke identity politics crap, asking Lego to change the name Slave One and Boba Fett ship. Stop changing stuff. It will always be Slave One. It has never offended anyone." How the hell does he know if it's never offended anyone? He has not polled everybody across the world. So how the hell does he know it's not offended anyone? And then Jobby King said, "Slave One, always and forever." So a lot of people standing up for Slave One. Batley_Dan, this is on the Yahoo article, "Slave One better than Boba Fett's Starship." But Zaki Hassan, who is at Zaki's Corner, said, "I'm pretty sure Boba Fett's ship is referred to as Slave One 0 times on screen. Grown-ass people really be throwing tantrums because a label on a toy box is changing." Julie Benson at the Julie Benson said, "People seriously have their panties in a twist over Boba Fett's ship losing the Slave One name." I like this one here from RN Lang on RN_Lang says, "The ship's name is Slave One. It is Boba Fett's starship. Both things are true. Go outside and touch some grass. So this is an interesting situation. All right. So now, because this is the Outlaw Nation show, we don't pull no punches. We tell our truths here. We drop it on the table, and there's nothing that's pulled back. No lies told. Nothing but honesty. Does that mean we can't be corrected down the road when a fact comes into play? No. But we're going to tell our truths from this point with the facts we have and tell our opinions, right? I think this is a big deal over nothing. Now, I understand I'm not Alex Damon. I'm not Molly Damon. I'm not even Laura Kelly. I'm not even I'm not Dee Malanta. I'm not Ace. But I am a Star Wars fan. I do love the franchise. I enjoy talking about the franchise. I co-host a show called The Jedi Way. I love Star Wars. Got them in 4K. Sitting right there to watch whenever I feel like it. And Rogue One as well. But I'll tell you this anger that this fuels is so strange to me. The only constant in life is change, and the only constant in life is progress. Oh, and the only other constant in life is progress. That's what we do. We progress and we change. All right. I get that some people might be hurt because it's they connect that name to their childhood and they connect that name to Boba Fett and they love Boba Fett. I totally get it. As a fan of Boba Fett, I massively get it. As someone who has said Boba Fett is Latino, he is the Latino of the Star Wars universe. I have been a huge fan of Boba. There's a vowel at the end, Boba. I'm just saying, and I love that. My name is Rocha Fett. My name is Rocha Fett. How long on Jedi Council and numerous other shows? That's my name because that's my homage to Boba, and I'm a fan of the Mandalorian culture and the people in Star Wars. But sometimes you got to be okay with listening to other people who are hurt by stuff that has been around for a long time. And just because you've never had an issue with it doesn't mean they don't get to have an issue with it. You can express your feelings. It's a free country. First Amendment. Say all the things you want to say about it. Rage and rant and do all the things you want to do. Even this guy who was, telling this guy who was uncredited as Boba Fett, making his multiple tweets talking about how, he's not going to spend $1, blobbity bloops and bleep blops, all of that. He's got every right to do that. But Disney as a company has every right to change the name of whatever the hell they wanted to change the name of because they don't want to push people out of the tent. Okay? And this is what it's all about. There's even a Robot Chicken episode, I think, where Billy D. Williams voicing Lando Calrissian says, I love the ship. I'm not a big fan of the name, though. So that's what you got to think about, right? When you say slave, Americans, what's the first thing they think of? It's what happened in our country for 400 years, slavery in our country. So when you say slave one, and you're talking about a bounty hunter, it's a bad combo of things now. I've never thought about it, but I'm not black. I'm not a black woman. I'm not a black man. I never thought about that. But hearing it and seeing people's issues with it and reading people's issues with it, it opens my eyes. When did it become a crime to be okay, to be receptive to other people's opinions? When did it become a crime to sit down and listen to other people and the stuff they experience, the stuff they go through, and educate you about what their perception of something you love is? Why should people listen to you if you're not willing to fucking listen to them? Why? It makes no sense. So all I'm saying is this is just the name of a ship, and they're changing it for the right reasons. Okay? They're changing it for this purpose, to not push people out of the tent, to be more inclusive. And isn't that something you should be happy about? Isn't that something you want in your Star Wars? Isn't that something that reflects the resistance? Including everyone in the conversation, making sure everyone has an equal voice, fighting for the people who are marginalized, fighting for the minority in this country that doesn't get as strong of a voice as the majority. That's what the resistance symbolized. Okay? People changing a name because they don't want it to be connected to a terrible time in our past, which, of course, the GOP and all this critical race theory nonsense that they're pushing, their issues with critical race theory, where they're trying to erase the idea that we would actually have some perspective about the history of this country. Of course, people want to run away from this, but it's our truth. It's what happened. But that doesn't mean it makes you hate the country. It just makes you aware of what happened. You can choose to hate the country whether you talk about slavery or not. Okay? So it's not just because they teach slavery, people are going to hate the country. It's ridiculous. You know, it's like saying your father, well, I found out my dad did this thing, and now I hate my dad. That's ridiculous. You have flaws. You have flaws. So what are we talking about? So at the end of the day, they're going to change it to Boba Fett Starship. And that's Disney's right, because Disney owns it. Do you think I liked that we're called the Washington football team? Hell no. But I certainly didn't like it when I became aware of the issues with the name Washington Redskins. I certainly didn't like that. And being with a woman who is half Native American, and her family is very vocal about their opinions on Native American issues in this country, it has opened my eyes. And then I bitch and moan, you can't change my football team's name. No, because you got to have way more perspective in life than something small like a name on a ship or a name on a team. There are bigger things to worry about in this world. So if you're open to listening and hearing the other point of view, you can still think of Boba Fett as Slave One in your mind. You can say it to your friends. Hell, you can get on YouTube and say it. All right, that's your right. But Disney has every right to change this for the good, to be more inclusive. It's the same reason they got rid of Carano, because they didn't want to have the things that she said poisoning people's enjoyment of The Mandalorian. And it did for a lot of people. They looked at the bottom line, and I'm sure they did their own internal polls, and they had their own conversations, and they realized, yeah, this isn't the way. This is not the way. And certainly what Mark Anthony Austin tweeted is not the way either. Laughing at his own joke, encouraging people not to spend money on something that maybe for other people now opens the door to them liking Boba Fett, not having to hear that name on the ship. People of color, specifically black people, maybe. You know? And I think that's the thing. I think there's nothing wrong with that. Mark Anthony Austin, you can still call your ship Slave One. Okay? It's okay. And by the same token, I don't have to call that ship Slave One ever again. I can just say Boba Fett Starship. And that's okay too. But Disney's making these changes for the good. And I'm just seeing so many people complaining about it. You're taking away my childhood. Get out of here. Get out of here. The core of it is not going anywhere. That's what matters. Fighting against the evil empire is not going anywhere. Banding together is not going anywhere. Men, women, different races, different species, banding together to fight the empire. That's not going anywhere. It's just a changing of a name. I love that they got rid of Slave Leia. That was always an issue. I always felt that was an issue once I became aware of what that might signify. So they changed it. And I think that's smart for a number of reasons. So I'm just saying we need to be way more open to these situations happening. We need to listen more. We need to open the door more. So many people will just want to get super offended and want to rage at the sky. That's not what this is about. What's wrong with taking a moment to hear what people have to say about a situation? You may not agree, but give them the courtesy to listen and maybe have a different perspective, different point of view on something like this. And I don't think that's a bad thing, myself personally. All right, got 120 of you watching us right now, and I appreciate it madly. A-Team says, I'm a black woman, and I've loved Boba Fett since I was 12. It didn't bother me, but makes sense to change the name on the toys. We have a different understanding than children. That's an excellent point, A-Team. Such an excellent point. You're right. Kids being taught that word eventually will want to find out the meaning of that word and look up the history of that word and connect it to the history of this country or the history of multiple countries or the history of numerous countries. The Bible talks about slavery all over the place, you know. So this is the whole thing at the end of the day. again, a nice perspective here I hadn't even thought about. It's fantastic. Thank you, A-Team. I appreciate it very, very much. And this is the way to go. Epsilon Audio says, I'm right there with you, A-Team. I'm a 26-year-old black man. It doesn't bother me too much either, but I get it from a branding perspective. But as fans, it doesn't change anything. It's all opinions. Exactly. It doesn't change anything. And the fact they never say Slave One in the movies. Yes, it's officially called, but they haven't changed it on StarWars.com yet. So this was probably like a soft rollout to see what would happen, to get some of the anger out of the way on a smaller thing like a Lego project, and then eventually make the move where they change it on the official StarWars.com website. That's okay. Our lives are going to go on. People are fucking dying of COVID, man. The name of a starship is not that big of a deal. And changing it for kids so they can change their perception or not have that word connected to something like a star, something that's supposed to be very inclusive like Star Wars, is a good thing. And also when you talk about Star Wars, you know that this is a generational thing. You pass on Star Wars to your kids. Your father, your mother, your uncle, your aunt, your older brother, older sister, your older friends or your friends passed on Star Wars to you. And where are you at when you're listening to that? In your mind, when you're experiencing it, when you're seeing it, right? I think that's important. I love it, and I think it's good. Sim says the Slave One debacle is proof why I believe the Star Wars fan base remains cursed to be divided, rewatched in the heights, and reminded how effed up our country is with how the film failed to reach out. Yeah, absolutely. We're going to get into that a little bit later for sure, Tim Sim, with Bill Maher's absolutely misguided and whiny comments about it, and show you the level of research he did not do before he went on to a national show with a massive platform and completely mauled and stumbled through his points that were way off base. Let's see here. Do I have any? I just want to check real quick, see if any Streamlabs or Super Chats have come through here as we're talking about this. I want to hear what you all have to say. Please send in your support for the show. Let me hear what you got. Let me hear where you're at right now. All right, here we got a few here. Christine donated. She said, "Hi, John. Solo Outlaw Nation shows are my favorite shows." Oh, thank you, Christine. I appreciate that. I'm always worried. I don't know who's going to pay attention, who's going to watch or whatever, so I appreciate it. She said, "I am so excited to hear that you and Lady Outlaw are looking to do a Twitch show. I am so happy I was able to leave a few messages on the last stereo show." You were, Christine. We appreciate it madly. It was great stuff. So thank you very much. You're awesome, and thank you for the compliment. Appreciate it. Buttered Butt Biscuits up in here, son. And he says, "Hey, John, been really enjoying seeing you get into Twitch and gaming. Might I suggest God of War as another great action-adventure game to try? Would also love to see you play party games like Among Us with people from the space. Thanks and be well." Yeah, I'm always open to collaborate with people from the space on Twitch for sure. I'd love to do something with Ben Goddard at some point down the road. I know he's the Twitch king of the space right now, but Cheryl, Ambling Soul, she's the Twitch queen of my Outlaw Nation. So she's been helping me like crazy get into this. So I will take your suggestion for God of War. Since it's a 2018 game, I'm sure the game is kind of cheap out there to be found, so that won't be a problem. But I've got what have I got? I got Spider-Man Miles Morales, the regular Spider-Man game, Mortal Kombat 11, which I haven't even cracked the plastic on. Like I said, Madden 21, NHL, FIFA, Jedi Fallen Order. Jedi Fallen Order I was really enjoying the other night, so I will probably be playing that very, very soon again. And last night I played God of War. Valhalla, I think it's Valhalla Rising. I think that was a lot of fun. So definitely. Christine said, "I wanted to send a little more money because you have inspired me to go into pursuing my own solo projects that are based on my own passions. Anyways, have a great show. And also congrats to the new power couple, Anna J and Jungle Boy." Yeah, Christine, right? Jungle Boy, fantastic match he had against Kenny Omega. And then, of course, Anna J and him posting that picture of them kissing in the parking lot. That's a good-looking couple. That's a good-looking couple. So, shout out to both of them for sure. And maybe we'll get Anna J on the show or Jungle Boy on Strong Style at some point down the road. Tushka, what's up, Tushka? Says, "I personally don't think they should change the name, but I'm also not worried about it changing. But now I wish I had a toy with Slave One name because it's worth a lot more money today. Hashtag shoulda, coulda, woulda." Yeah, I guess so. I guess you could look at it that way, Tushka. But, I mean, they changed the Redskins name. Aren't you happy about that? So I feel like that's a correlative in a way, depending on the community. So, but I appreciate it, man. Good to see you. Justin Toner says, hey, John, at this point, I don't mind if they want to move away from Slave One Name. Good points tonight. Once again, jealous. Aaron Turner got to see NXT live in person tonight. Awesome show with some major happenings. No spoilers, of course. Hashtag strong style. All right, maybe I'll check it out after I'm done here tonight, or check it out in the morning for sure. Let me see. We'll see what happens. Doug Developers in here says, it really pisses me off how these particular people love to tell people of color how to feel. They tell you to shut up if you're offended, and on the other side of the coin, telling happy black film fans that Black Panther, quote, is just a movie. Yeah, absolutely. It's so very, very true, Doug. That's how they approach this thing. That's how they look at this thing, and then you got to kind of process all of that. Oh, what's up, Bibbs? Are you in here? Hello, Bibiani. Thank you very much for joining me, man. What's going down, son? Bibbs, big fan of this man. We had our battles in the past, but I've grown in my respect for this man over the last couple of years as I've kind of put down my shield, put down my sword, and relaxed into the world of life and building my own channel and all of that. So, Bibiani, what's up? Good to see you, man. Thank you very much for joining us and taking the time. You're the best. Ben Rainer says, hey, Rocha, sorry I've been MIA for a while. I've been busy with stuff, but hope everything is good. Love the new setup. And look, thank you, Ben. I appreciate it. Still working on it, working out some things. I built those bookcases a couple of weeks ago. It took me 4 hours to build all those bookcases, move that TV center from where it was here over here, stack everything up, put the PS5, connect it to Twitch, and then set up the lights and the camera. But I'm very happy with the setup now. I got my recliner behind me to watch movies and everything like that. So everything is set up where there's a little more space in the office, and I can function and stay in the office for hours working on things. Now that I'm doing more trailer reactions, more reviews, and getting into pre-produced videos, this is my office. This is my job. So that's the way I set it up. But thank you, Ben. I appreciate it very, very badly. Very, very badly. So thank you very much. All right. We got 133 of you watching us live. Thank you very much. Please remember to hit that like button and leave a comment if you're watching later, as well as hitting that like button. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet and you're here watching us, please do me a favor. Subscribe down below. Hit that bell so you know when we're dropping all the content we got here, on the Outlaw. This is the Outlaw Nation Show on Tuesdays. Yesterday was Game Time. If you didn't watch Game Time, it was a fun crew with me and JT and Ben Goddard joining us, having fun talking some basketball and talking some NFL and talking all of that. So some Olympics conversations as well. And then tomorrow we got Geek Buddies dropping. Mike Kanowski stepping in for Mike Bogle, who is out this week. We're also going to get into Loki. Me, Shannon, and Emma are going to do a review for Loki tomorrow. Going to drop that on Thursday morning. And then Friday or Sunday, we'll be doing our Bad Batch reviews with Laura Kelly as well off of the last 2 episodes. And then John and Wendy Explain the World on Fridays. And what else? And other things coming down the pike for sure. And of course, my weekends are full of shows all over the place. Yes, thank you so much, Bibiana. Yes, hit that like button, dang it. All right, so let's see. That was my thoughts on the Slave One situation. I don't know how much more I can add other than it's okay. We're all gonna live. Let them change the name so that people can not have a connection to that name that's going to give them negative thoughts, negative feelings, or negative experiences as young people, as young children discovering Star Wars. There are some uncomfortable things about Star Wars as you watch the franchise, but that changes as you get older. You move past that stuff. You understand where it comes from. So why not now with this new generation and the universal values, which I think is a good way to approach things? You're opening the door to being more inclusive, to listening to people of color, listening to women, listening to their experiences, and changing things. I think it's fantastic. I was just on a panel. I cannot reveal what panel it is yet because it's coming up at a future event. I was just on a panel with 4 amazing women, listening to their points of views as podcasters, as creators of fiction podcasts, as hosts of podcasts that analyze numerous geeky things. It was such an eye-opening experience. I almost forgot that I was supposed to talk as well. And I would just sit back and listen to them and have completely new perspectives on things. And I love it. I love that the world is opening up more and more. So we're hearing from people of color. We're hearing from more women of color, especially women of color, and all of that's happening. It's a positive. It's a positive. The people who are afraid of it, the people who are pushing back on it, the people who are angry about it, they're the ones stuck in the small world, in the small bubble. And that's not who we are anymore. If we're going to get through the madness that's going on in the world, it's by looking at our neighbors and getting to know them and talking to them and connecting with them, regardless of financial situation, regardless of color, regardless of gender, regardless of immigrant, not immigrant, regardless of all of that. Tell me about you. Let me get to know you in your world. Let me open my mind up more. Let me have more perspective on the world. And guess what? You'll create better content when you have more perspective on the world. When you think more globally, when you're more open to receiving, you can create more content that's more layered, more nuanced, more complex, has multiple levels to it. And more people will want to watch your content because you represent multiple facets of fandom. And that's important. Just my 2 cents on it. Whew, needed a drink after that one. Yeah, William Bibiani, great point here. Never forget, Star Wars was always rooted in problematic colonialist fantasies, and it's long past time to move on from those elements and change the franchise for the better. Great points, Bibbs. Absolutely. Absolutely great points, Bibbs. You're right. You're totally right. And that's happening. And listen, I think the egg on their face from the Kelly Marie Tran situation, from the John Boyega situation, from the Oscar Isaac situation, and from the Daisy Ridley situation, I think they realized we got to make some changes here, or we're going to lose a significant part of this fan base. And that's the smart move. And they're making these changes. And I want to see more of that happening. And the changes are not to exclude, they're to include. And that's a positive, So just putting it out there. All right, so let's. Dalton says he's a bounty hunter who enslaves people. Yeah, sure. Yeah, but you don't have to call it that. So there we go. All right, let me see here. Let's move on to our next thing. Sean, how are you feeling? You good? Are you good with life? Are you all right? All right, cool. Just want to make sure. All right, let's see if I've got any more Streamlabs and Super Chats. Please keep sending in support for the show, ladies and gentlemen. As I said, the Outlaw Nation Show is the flagship show. This is where we want to make the most money to support the channel, what we're doing. So anything you can spare tonight, anything you can give to put in your comments and send in your thoughts, we appreciate it madly. So much love to all of you. Kevin Merton, he sent me a super chat. Let me see if I can find it, Kevin. Yeah, he said, favorite game of the Euros so far for me, Spain versus Croatia was amazing. Had like 3 heart attacks during the game. LOL. I agree. Spain versus Croatia was fantastic, but France versus Switzerland was the game so far, the quarterfinals, in my opinion. In my personal opinion, England beat Germany was my favorite because I'm a massive England fan. But that game, because no one gave the Swiss a shot. And they came in there and came back from 3-1 with 15 minutes left in the game to tie it up and then held their nerve to beat the French in penalty kicks. Kylian Mbappe making the mistake, one of the greatest players currently playing, and he missed the penalty kick. And that goes to show you, just because you're favorite doesn't mean you can get it done. Sometimes being the underdog is the way to go. So that's what I would say. But yes, the Spain-Croatia game was incredible. So was the Austria game as well, where they almost came back on Italy. I think they had multiple opportunities to tie that game in the second overtime, but only scored 1 goal instead of 2. So there you go. All right, let's see what else we got here. Mr. _Torax says, hey, what's up, Outlaw? Hope you and your lady are well. We are. Just wanted to say England 2, Germany 0. That's right. Are you following the tournament? Where have you been, Mr. I've been live, doing live watch-alongs on my Twitch of the tournament games. I watched the entire England versus Germany. Well, I missed the first 15 minutes, but I watched from the first 15 minutes all the way to the end of the England-Germany game on my Twitch, my man. So if you want to go find that, I think the streams are recorded there on Twitch, so you can go find and watch me going crazy when Sterling scores, and even crazier after Kane scores that header. So yes, I am doing I am watching the Euro 2020 tournament for sure. It's the first time since '66 that we knocked out the Germans in a major tournament. I'm predicting an England-Italy final now. We shall see, but nothing seems to be going according to plan with the Dutch and the French being knocked out. So, you never know what can happen here. Justin Toner says, John, also wanted to say, enjoy the watch along of England versus Germany today. Fun time. Thank you. Can't wait till you get affiliated. We could do movie watch alongs. Oh, I saw a Stallone post on Instagram. The director's cut of Rocky IV is coming out November 11th in theaters. That's awesome. That is awesome. November 11th in theaters. Shout out to that. And I got to find some way to get my hands on that before it drops. All right. And Tim Sim, RIP, the teams of Group F aka the group of death. You're right. Sweden getting knocked out today by Croatia. Pretty shocking to see that happening to Sweden here in the quarterfinal. It was Sweden, right? Sweden lost, right? That's what I didn't watch that last game, but I think Croatia beat them. So there you go. Somebody correct me in the chat if I'm wrong. All right, let's move on to Black Widow. Is that the next thing? Yeah, we've done the Disney. So let's move on to Black Widow. I got a chance to watch it today. This is a non-spoiler review. Non-spoiler review. I'm going to drop a little bit more of a non-spoiler review here, but here's what I'll tell you about the film. I absolutely enjoyed it. I had a really great time watching Black Widow. Scarlett Johansson, this movie, throughout the whole movie, I kept feeling, and I'm not going to spoil anything, Liz. I'm not going to spoil anything. I kept feeling like this was 10 years too late. Like, not that the movie itself was dated, more that this was so much fun. And I really enjoyed seeing Scarlett like be the focus of this movie, along with Florence Pugh, of course, that I thought this should have happened a while ago. If they could have made a movie like this a while ago, I think there would have been even more of a connection to Black Widow from fans in the franchise. But, you know, sometimes things happen for a reason. And although it's not good that they waited this long for a Black Widow movie, having someone like Kate Shortland come in to direct it and have Florence Pugh come around to where she can play the character that she's playing in the film, lining up David Harbour, who's, of course, achieved all kinds of notoriety now off of the Stranger Things. Of course, he's been in a million other things, but Stranger Things really kind of put him on the map. And then bring in Rachel Weisz, who we haven't seen in a minute in a big project. So nice to see this combination of people be involved in this film. And I will say this, it is absolutely a spy film. It's absolutely got some fantastic action sequences, both in the air and on the ground and everywhere else in between. It's funnier than you think it's going to be. I will say this, I found myself really enjoying the jokes throughout the movie. And I thought they were going to try to force jokes or, shove jokes to work. It's not true. It doesn't happen, in my opinion. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the jokes, the humor, the overall sense of the stakes were never undercut by some of the human humor that is happening in certain moments. And by that, I mean, because of the madness of the situation, the way sometimes when we're in some crazy situations, the way we diffuse the situation is to make some jokes or to have a back and forth that's funny, that kind of levels you back and get you to focus on what you need to do. Florence Pugh is incredible in the movie. She absolutely announces herself, and it's not the last we're seeing of her as a character in the MCU, I believe. I think people have been saying that for some time, for sure. Rachel Weisz is fantastic in the film. David Harbour is stellar. Absolutely stellar. Look, Rachel Weisz delivers what she always delivers, which is a solid, good performance. But David Harbour creating the character of Red Guardian is a joy to behold for so many reasons. And the film does jump back and forth in time. So it is a bit of an origin story to Black Widow, and a lot more of her past gets revealed. And I think that's something that the MCU fans are going to have to negotiate in their minds, and especially some of the Marvel fans who know Natasha Romanoff's story from the comic books. You're going to have to kind of negotiate some of the things they took that they used and didn't use from her story in the comic books. This one's about 2 hours and 16 minutes long, but it's a damn joy to watch. And I really enjoyed where they went. I really enjoyed what they discussed, what they explored, what they experienced. There are one. I think there's one or two end credit scenes. I know there is one completely right at the end after all the credit scene. And I think there's one somewhere in the middle there that's kind of a post-credit scene or mid-credit scene as well. But overall, the music is fantastic as well. The action sequences are stellar, really well directed, and you feel like you are in those cars experiencing what they're experiencing. And Taskmaster is so well done, just so well done with the fighting and everything like that. And so I enjoy all the things that they do with the story, the places they go to, a couple of the new characters they introduce into the MCU, and where we might be going next. So, and yeah, this is placed, I think, after Civil War, right after they kind of separate and roll out. and the Sokovia Accords, they're coming after her. So that's part of this whole element that's happening as she explores this thing. I do think some people will compare it a little bit to Red Sparrow, but Black Widow had come, the character Black Widow had come first, Natasha Romanoff, in the movies as well as in the comics, obviously. So Red Sparrow was a little bit compared to Black Widow, but there's only like a small amount that you could connect a couple of the story beats, or maybe even 3 or 4 of the story beats to Red Sparrow, but not really overtly. So all I can tell you is this is a damn fine film, a fun film. This is worth it for you if you've been waiting to see a Marvel film in the theaters. Absolutely experience this one in the theaters. I saw Scott Mantz's review. He wasn't too positive about it. I love my brother. We differ on this one. But he even said at the end of his review, go watch it in theaters. The scope of this one is great. Now, I had to watch it here on my link because they weren't doing any screenings. I'm in San Diego. I don't live in Los Angeles, or I would have gone to a screening. So I have to watch it here. But I can't wait to go and see this in the theater. In fact, I think I am driving up to hang out with my crew. I think we've got a 40-person crew rolling deep into see Black Widow on opening night. So I can't wait to drive up and hang out with my crew and have a little fun watching Black Widow. So that's what I can tell you. See, some people saying, really enjoyed all of this, and they're saying, thank God we're taking a break. Pugh, and Florence Pugh, listen, she can do everything. And there's such a, how can I say this? There's such a comfortability in her skin that you don't see from a lot of actors or actresses. And I appreciate seeing that on screen from someone who's just so comfortable in their skin. And some of the humor they give her to do, some of her best lines are throwaway lines. Some of her best lines are under her breath. So watch everything Florence Pugh is doing and just marvel at the beginnings of an incredible actress who is going to win multiple awards as she goes through her career. Remember, I think she's like 24, 25 years old and already establishing such credibility in all these franchises. And I think Rachel Zegler will be following right behind her very closely. So, seeing Rachel getting recently cast in the Snow White remake the live action Snow White. And then, of course, what she's doing with Shazam, and then what she's going to be doing when we get a chance to see it in West Side Story. So that's what I would tell you, overall. So, some people may disagree with me, but I've been seeing a lot of positive reviews. So I really enjoyed it. It did its job. And it made me want another one. I think that's the thing that I felt at the end of the movie as well that surprised me. It made me want a continuation of this story. We got 3 Captain Americas, 3 Thors, 3 Iron Mans. We're going to get a 4th Thor. It would have been nice to have the Black Widow thing going through with 3 movies as well. That would have been a lot of fun. So, all right. I'm getting it on Disney Plus. I hope it counts towards her box office numbers. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Rachel Weisz, Joseph Ashley. Yeah, she was in the Mummy series. She was great in the Mummy series. It's so funny. She's, it's incredible to see her kind of, that was like 1999, the Mummy. So it's like 22 years later, so funny to think it feels like yesterday that she was the young up and coming starlet, and other people were kind of putting her over. And of course she won that Oscar for The Constant Gardener. And now we're going to see if maybe Scarlett is the next, or Florence Pugh is the next one that steps into the kind of mantle as well. What's the BW trilogy? Oh, Black Widow trilogy? Possibly. I don't know. I'm not going to spoil anything. I don't know. So, and I don't actually know. So, I even more so I'm not spoiling anything because I don't really know that situation. All right, let me see if I've got a couple of Streamlabs that have come through. Aaron Klister says, thank you, Aaron. Very kind. He says, that being said of Black Widow, which other characters of the MCU would you like to see with their own movie? Love ya, Outlaw. Thank you, Ben. Thank you, Aaron. I appreciate that. Other characters in the MCU? Well, we're getting the Hawkeye series. I always felt that Jeremy Renner was a little hard done by that situation, by some of the writing, by some of the storylines they did with him. But we are getting him in a separate series. So that's going to be cool to see. And I'm looking forward to that, seeing what we're going to get from that series with him and Haley Steinfeld. What they're able to create for the Hawkeye situation. That would have been my choice. But let me see. Let me think about that. What about you guys? What MCU? I mean, doesn't the Hulk deserve? I mean, like Mark Ruffalo has not had a solo Hulk movie the whole time he has taken over as the Hulk. And let me tell you something. That Incredible Hulk movie counts. It counts. William Hurt as Thunderbolt Ross is in the MCU. He is Thunderbolt Ross in that Incredible Hulk movie. They're bringing back Tim Roth as Abomination. We saw Abomination in the Shang-Chi trailer. So they're bringing back Tim Roth. What the hell? Where's Liv Tyler as Betty? That's what I want to see. Or Betsy. I'm sorry, Betsy. Where's Mark Ruffalo's solo film? Where's the Hulk's solo film? Why can't Mark Ruffalo be in a solo film? Don't tell me it's because you don't think he can carry a film. For God's sakes, it's the Hulk, and it's got the MCU connected to it. There's no reason he shouldn't be able to do one for sure. Captain Marvel has hers, and the Marvels are going to be coming together for the next movie, so that's going to be fun to see. Is there anyone else? I'm sure there are. I mean, how many of you would be interested in a Yondu prequel? Maybe not movie, but a Yondu prequel series could be very, very interesting, in my opinion. Or Michael Rooker as Yondu raising Star-Lord and their experiences. That could be really funny as well. Call it the Ravagers. Yeah, Star-Lord and the Ravagers. There you go. There you go. That's your TV series right there, Disney Plus. Star-Lord and the Ravagers. All right, Happy Hogan and Aunt May. No, I don't want to see Happy Hogan and Aunt May. Right, it's an issue with Universal Studios. You're right. I know. You're right. I know. Let's see here. Let's see what else we got in the Streamlabs. Jim Sandlin. Sorry about this, guys. Outlaw, what do you think about Tanya Snyder being co-CEO, co-owner of the Washington football team? I think having diversity of ownership is a good thing. All right, Jim. Yes, but having the diversity be the wife of the owner who was accused by multiple cheerleaders of sexual harassment, of sexual issues, of being denigrated, having their agency removed, being essentially pimped out to these high-paying donors? Nah. I'm cool that he's hiring people of color and women and putting them in the high positions of power, but I don't trust that dude at all. And I think what he's doing is to cover up all the crap he's pulled over the years. Remember, he was against the changing of the name. He even paid Native American people, the allegations, he paid Native American people to come out and say they had no issue with the name Redskins. That's what he did, or alleged to have done. And there's evidence for that. And so this is a smarmy, rich little piece of crap. And he got his wife, who's been turning a blind eye to everything, to be co-owner or whatever, co-CEO, whatever they want to give her. And to me, that's not earned. You know what I'm saying? She didn't work through the ranks. I know someone who worked through the ranks of the NFL and became a woman of power for a team in the NFL. All right. This is a different situation completely. And I know she was running a charity organization and all of that nonsense. I get it. It's good. I'm sorry. I don't want to say nonsense. All of that stuff, because it's good to be a part of a charity. It's good to help people with a charity, of course. But to me, since she's attached to Danny, can't be a good thing. And Danny buying out the minority owners is frustrating as hell, because this is the NFL essentially turning a blind eye to women, to these allegations against him, to all these things that were there to explore on him. So it's very, very frustrating. Normally, I'd be over the moon. And I think it's time, just like I've been saying on Game Time, there's time for a woman to be head coach of an NBA team. Becky Hammon, more than time for her to be a coach, more than past time for her to be a coach of an NBA team. And then we're seeing a little bit of some of these NBA teams that floated her name out there and then went with dudes. So it's a shitty situation. At some point, you hope it's fixed and they do the right thing here. But yeah, Jim, I want to think it's a good thing, but because it's attached to Danny, I can't let it be as good of a thing as you want it to be or you're portraying it to be. And I respect your point of view on it for sure. Ben Rayner says, I even liked Rachel in Oz the Great and Powerful, which is a guilty pleasure for me. Yes, I liked Oz the Great and Powerful as well. I liked her in that. Michelle Williams in that as well. Isn't Zach Braff the voice of the monkey? I think he's the voice of the monkey in that film. And I can't remember who the voice of the little doll is in the film. But yeah, Mila Kunis in there with Rachel Weisz. Good thing. I just saw Forgetting Sarah Marshall again the other. I hadn't seen that in a while. It used to be one of my favorites. It was so nice to sit here the other day. I was so tired just exhausted from my week. And they had Just Friends, speaking of guilty pleasures, Just Friends, which is a great guilty pleasure of mine from Ryan Reynolds, back to back with Forgetting Sarah Marshall. And I was just enjoying the 3 hours that I was watching those movies with commercial breaks. I didn't even care about the commercial breaks because I was just happy to watch these movies again. Even though I own them, I could have popped them on. But there's something nice with the occasional time when you stumble upon a channel again and watch a movie you hadn't watched in a bit, right? That's kind of been lost with people cutting the cord, people buying movies, people having stuff on demand or streaming stuff. That stumbling upon a movie feeling that all of us who love watching films growing up, that has gone away from our normal daily lives. It was nice to have that again a little bit on this. That's why I have YouTube TV, because I just like stumbling upon movies every once in a while and what have you. And of course I can watch the tournament here when I do them on Twitch for sure. Well, Rocha likes Mila. I love Mila Kunis. She's great. Loved her in the movie. That's for sure. Joey King voiced it all. There you go. Thank you, Cam. Appreciate that. Yeah. Good pull on Zach Braff. That's right. Well, why wasn't that my one pointer on, in my match? That would have been nice to win on that one. For sure. Yeah, Joey King did it all. Just Friends is a deep cut to a lot of you. Just Friends is Ryan Reynolds, Amy Smart, Chris Klein. Is that his name? The dude from, Chris Klein, right? The dude from American Pie. And Anna Faris, who is fantastic in that movie. And Julie Haggerty plays Ryan Reynolds' mom with his other brother. I can't remember the other actor's name who plays his brother. But the film is basically him. He was an overweight guy in high school who was in love with Amy Smart, but he got embarrassed at a party in high school, and he was determined to lose weight and become like this important person. And he kind of becomes Ryan Reynolds. So yes, it is Reynolds in a fat suit. I understand. As a person who struggles with his weight, I don't have a problem with it. I know other people might, so I respect that, but I'd have a problem with it. Because he discovers the journey here is that it's not what you look like on the outside, it's who you are on the inside. Because when he becomes this skinny, powerful exec in Hollywood, in the music business in Hollywood, he's a real jerk to a lot of people and to the women he's dating because he's afraid to get hurt. And it isn't until some plane malfunction happens and he ends up in his hometown during Christmas that he has to confront all these demons from the past, including his affections for Amy Smart. And she's stellar in the movie. People forget how great Amy Smart was, right? Was it Road Trip? She's great in Road Trip. She's great in Rat Race. She's great in so many things, and she's a lot of fun in Just Friends. Can we get an Amy Smartassance? Is a Smartassance possible? Can we get an Amy Smartassance? She's a talented talented woman who should be getting more things, for God's sake. So anyway, it's a guilty pleasure of mine. That's what I'll say. Chris Marquette. Oh, Chris Marquette. Is that the guy? Yeah, Chris Marquette. I get him confused with Logan Lerman and the dude from Percy Jackson and the Olympians. I get those guys all confused. Oh, yeah, Amy Smart and Crank. Yes, she's great in Crank as well. So she's awesome. So let's get a Smartassance going, ladies and gentlemen. All right, Major Laser says, Rita Moreno disappointed me when she said, can't you just wait a while and leave it alone? A person of color should know better than to tell other people of color to be silent. Okay, so yeah, that Major Laser's bringing. Thank you very much for the Streamlab, Major Laser. Please keep sending them in. Oh, geez, I didn't even put it in the chat, Sean. What the hell, Sean? You have one job as a producer. One job. I swear to God. Sometimes I wonder about you and your dedication to the Outlaw Nation show. Hold on, let me put it in the chat. Because Sean didn't put it in the chat. Let me put it in the chat. Too busy watching the Yankees game yet again. It's the crap Yankees who won't get rid of their manager, Aaron Boone. Let me see. Let me put it down here. Yeah, and if you haven't hit a like yet on this, I would appreciate it. We got 125 likes, 135 you all watching right now. So please hit that like button. Give us some love here on the Outlaw Nation show. Let me know what you want to talk about. Send in your Streamlabs. Send in your super chat. You got something that's messing with you, that's bothering you? Tell me about it. Let's take a look at it. Let's discuss it. Let's open the door to that discussion, for God's sakes. All right. I think I put it in the chat now. There it is. Message is pinned. All right, Sean. I did it. I'm going to take his name off produced by for today. I think it was I need my mom and dad to be producers so I can get a job. Okay, sure you do, level 2. Anyway, yeah. So wait, what's going on with the Bucks? Did the Bucks lose to the Hawks without Trae Young playing on the team? Are you kidding? Oh, and Giannis. Wow, the Hawks won 110-88 to tie up the series without Trae Young. Wow, shocking stuff. Shocking stuff. Oh, wait, Sean's awake. You left a comment in the chat. Thank you, Sean. I appreciate it. All right, so let's get to this, what Major Lazer just said, and actually moves us into the next thing we're going to talk about here. Thank you, Major Lazer. Yeah, Rita Moreno, for those who don't know, during the In the Heights stuff that was happening a couple of weeks ago, a lot of people of color, Afro-Latinos, Afro-Latinx people came forward and said, hey, where's our representation here in the Heights? Washington Heights has a strong mix of Afro-Latino, Afro-Latinx people in their mix of people. And so we want to see a little more representation. How come a film that is supposed to be supporting all Latinos and is set in a section of New York where you have strong Afro-Latinx or Afro-Latino, strong Afro-Latino representation, how come we didn't see more of those kinds of characters? And I thought the complaints were valid for sure, because I think people making you aware of something is never a bad thing, as long as they're coming from a good place. And it seems to me they were coming from a good place, because it's about representation, authentic representation of a barrio, of an area of New York. But Rita was on, I think, Stephen Colbert, and then said what Major quoted here, can't you just wait a while and leave it alone? He's talking to other people. And look, you can go after Rita all you want, but Rita is an older Latino woman, okay? She has been through the wars, and way more than anybody else, maybe, who's criticizing her, she has been through the wars of trying to get respect as a Latina in the entertainment business, okay? Does that mean that what she said was right? No, I think she spoke incorrectly about it, and she backtracked it the next day, to her credit. She didn't say, I said what I said, and didn't give a crap. She backtracked and spoke about it. But the genesis of her point was, we can barely get any representation, Latino representation type films through the door. Let us get this one through the door, support it, promote it, let it make money, and then in the next one, we'll definitely address the idea of the issue of representation and getting more darker people represented in these roles as lead roles. This is something that I absolutely, as a Latino who's of lighter skin, I am very aware, but my brother is of darker skin, and my cousins and uncles, and they have darker skin. I have had these conversations. I have seen some of the difference in treatment. You know, people, when I first got into the space, people thought I was white for the longest time. Never mind that there was a fucking vowel at the end of my name. People still thought I was white. I had to correct them, you know. Even sometimes in the Shmoda, I have to make them aware that I am Latino while they're talking about diversity, representation. I have to say, hey guys, remember me. I get it that, you know, I am the outlaw, but I'm also Latino first. So, and you know, they're always receptive to make those adjustments when I make them aware of it, which, you know, I don't really fault them for. Sometimes it can be seen as just the outlaw. So, but like, this is, I totally understand it. But nobody went to see the movie by the box office. So if your point is to not go to see this movie because you're not represented in this movie and the movie tanks, do you think you will then make a movie that represents your community and people will go see it? I don't think so. I don't think studios will approve that. I don't think studios. I was talking to a friend of mine. This is no lie. Today, a friend of mine was talking to me who's a filmmaker, and he's making a movie, and he's written the lead to be a young Latino woman and a young Latino boy with his mom, and they have told him to change it to be a black kid and a black mom, because they want the whole film to be black, because they think they can sell a black film better than they can sell a film with a Latin woman. That Latin females do not sell movies. This is what he was told by executives at a company on a movie he's working on, a script he's working on. And this is what we come up against. So yes, I understand 1,000% that darker people of color need representation. Absolutely. It's something within our community, just like I spoke about a couple weeks ago with School Days. Spike Lee made me aware of that in the black community. I didn't know about that till I saw School Days. The idea of lighter black people versus darker black people. Certainly Jay and Winston joke about it all the time between them. So it is there, and it's in our community as well. You know, so I've seen it. So that's what I'm saying is, like, I got what Rita was saying. She said it incorrectly. She should have been more sensitive to the situation, Major Lazer. So I totally respect where you're coming from, and I feel you. But I think you have to also factor in what Rita has been through since the 50s in this business. She's in Singing in the Rain, ladies and gentlemen. If you don't know that, Rita Moreno is in Singing in the Rain. That's how far back she goes. And how do you think they treated Latina women in the 1950s? 1960s, 1970s. She busted out West Side Story, but then what did she get after that? Did you see her in a lot of things after that? She did a lot of television, certainly was all over my television, The Electric Company and other things. She was great. But, she had to deal with the situation from numerous white executives, male or female, and how she was treated going through. So if she misspoke, she misspoke. If she said something wasn't 100% correct, give her the space to retract it back, walk it back a little bit and adjust. Give her the space to learn, So that's the thing at the end of the day. And we're going to address that next with the Bill Maher. I'm going to play you some of the stuff that Bill Maher said on his show that he does there on HBO that I used to watch. Wayne Edwards says, hey, hello, Brother Rocha. I'm in class via Zoom. Nice. But I have you on in the background at a low volume. Good luck with that. You sound pretty animated, LOL. I can't wait to hear the show later. Keep doing what you do. By the way, saw In the Heights in the theater. Loved it. That's from Wayne Edwards. Ambling Soul, one of my patrons, Cheryl, she saw In the Heights recently and loved it. There's no one I've spoken to who went to see the movie who didn't love it. And that's without a villain, supposedly, without a standout song, supposedly, without any stars. It's a great film. People need to go see it. It's super frustrating to see what's happening going on. But I'm glad you have me on in the background, Wayne. This is me being more animated for you in the background at a low volume. Enjoy watching it. Yeah, later. Tim Sim says, and I'll get to this. Tim Sim, where are you? Tim Sim says, with how the In the Heights box office did, and if it doesn't get award noms compared to La La Land and the upcoming West Side Story film, Latino representation still has a long way to go. You're right, Tim. We do. We have a long way to go. Sometimes I'm sitting here doing the show and I'm banging the drum and I say to myself, why don't you write something? You got something to say. You want to see something get done. You've got connections. You write something. You talk so much about it. You write something. And maybe it's time for me to kind of sit down and create something and create a TV show, create a movie, whatever. Maybe it's time. I don't know. I think there are way more talented people than me who can do that. I just want to be a voice that supports it, that promotes it, that uplifts it, that makes people aware of it, that's willing to walk into the battles sometimes with my fellow critics, with my fellow people who do box office analysis and say what I need to say. Apparently, I heard through the grapevine a couple of people were really upset that I posted what I posted about the box office analysts not mentioning racism in any of their analysis of why the film didn't do well, as if that couldn't possibly be one of the reasons that you could factor in to the situation. God forbid. I think some of them didn't want to lose viewers, didn't want to lose subscribers, didn't want to lose followers. And so they were afraid to tell the truth. Or maybe they were blind to it, And the majority of these analysts are what? White men. So what's their experience versus a Latino's experience? How many of them reached out to me to talk to me? How many of them reached out to another Latino to talk to them? I wonder. These are the things that if you don't make the effort to get to know the community you're speaking about, you're not going to fucking know the truth. It's important to know the truth. Just saying. Let's see what else here. Says Ray Dominguez. Let me see what you got, Ray. What do you got, Ray? Where are you, Ray? There you go. Thank you, Ray. Appreciate it. He says, catching the replay. Cheers. Oh, thank you, Ray. Appreciate that. The third, Ray Dominguez. The third. El tercero. Major League in the Heights is a lot better than yes, I agree. It is better than La La Land. Oh my God, I can't. La La Land, I can't. Have I never seen a musical with two young white people who can't figure it out and have to find each other to find, like I've seen every musical, for the love of God, almost. So like, I just don't see what separated La La Land, which was an homage to all the great ones. Go watch all the great ones. You don't need to see that film to appreciate the great musicals. You don't. They're all everything. And look, I love Damien Chazelle. I die on the First Man Hill, so he can't come for me. I die on the First Man Hill. And I loved the film. Why can't I think of it? Oh my God. I got to get back into shape in terms of movie trivia. We've got a match coming up. But Whiplash, right? Whiplash. I love Whiplash. La La Land, that was just copy and paste. Well, no, I won't say that because that's offensive. I'll say this. He was biting off things, but wasn't improving them, in my opinion. And I know some people love that film. Certainly, like my brother Scott Mann, so I love to pieces. We just disagree on this. It's just not my kind of musical, man. I don't need a white guy telling me about jazz. This is one of the issues I have when I'm watching Bosch, is listening to Titus Welliver talk about jazz. Drives me up a wall. It drives me up. And he has a black partner, but he's the one talking about jazz. Drives me up a wall overall. So, but I love the show. It just drives me up a wall. So those kinds of things are here when you factor it in, for my opinion. All right, let me see. Okay, so let me move on to what I want to show you guys. So let me share this video here, and this might get me in trouble, but fuck it. You got to live life. Let's see here, and I'm going to share the audio. So this is Bill Maher on his show, Real Time with Bill Maher, and he's talking about the Lin-Manuel Miranda situation, okay, and the people who went against this. So we're talking about In the Heights. This is part of what I wanted to talk about tonight. Let's get into it real quick. And I think you can hear the audio. Sean, can you hear? I was
reading also about Lin-Manuel Miranda this week. He of Hamilton fame and, won a Pulitzer Prize for it. He's got a new musical, The Heights, which is about Washington Heights.
All right, let's stop right there. Okay. His name is not Lin-Manuel Miranda. He's not driving a fucking car. He's not a transmission in a fucking car. His name, especially for a guy who has an H in his name, but it's silent, should understand how to pronounce another Latino's name. If you're going to, a Latino's name, not another, because he's not Latino, but you should learn to pronounce the man's name if you're going to go on this diatribe that he's about to go to. It's Lin-Manuel Miranda. It's not that difficult. It's not that hard. Just fucking say it correctly. And it's called In the Heights. It's not called The Heights. That's a fucking TV show from the 90s that lasted less than one season. Had a good song, though. I will say that. It was a good song. How Do You Talk to an Angel? That's a damn good song. Oh, wait. What was that one? That was The Heights, right? Talk about it. So, anyway, all right. So, let's just go there. Are people? Yeah. Okay. So, let's hear some more from Bill Maher here. Then he says,
I know that neighborhood. My father parked in it every day of his life, going to New York, coming over from New Jersey, and then taking the subway down to Midtown.
Oh, nice. His father parked in Washington Heights. Did he get to know anybody? Did he hang out in Washington Heights? Bill doesn't go into that. Doesn't say. He parked there. I'm going to leave my car here and I'm going to go to work. All right.
And he wrote the music and lyrics. His parents are Puerto Rican, came to this country from Puerto Rico.
Now, he wasn't the only one who wrote the lyrics and the music for the show. So, already he's not, the researchers here for Maher have not done a good job to get him prepared to talk about this.
The book is by someone who's half Puerto Rican. It got 96% Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah, 96%.
People loved it.
People did love it.
Great reviews.
Great reviews.
For which he has apologized profusely. Why? Well, there's Latinx performers, one black lead, but no Afro Latinx.
Let's stop here. How much do you want to bet this motherfucker never went to see the movie? So if you're going to go off and go on your show, a national show with a platform with the millions of followers you have, and you're going to go off about cancel culture, which is what he's just about to go do, and he is using Lin-Manuel Miranda. He is using this situation to push his agenda. He's not fighting for Lin-Manuel. He's not fighting for this Latino movie. He hasn't even fucking seen it. I'd bet dollars to donuts, as Quentin Tarantino once wrote. He hasn't seen it. Okay? So to talk about it, to try to use it as an example or a rallying cry for your issues with cancel culture, you haven't even fucking seen the movie, which is so obvious. He's reading off no cards. All right, let's keep going.
The committee that makes note of everyone's skin tone discovered this, and then Lin-Manuel Miranda had to say, I'm truly sorry. I'm learning from the feedback. I thank you for raising it, and I'm listening. I promise to do better in my future projects.
Okay. That's a fantastic response from Lin-Manuel Miranda. That's a fantastic response from him. He is saying, I am listening. He's not apologizing profusely. Not just saying, oh, forgive me, please, for the love of God, forgive me. That's profusely. But he's painting it this way. He's removing Lin's actual point of view here and replacing it with his point of view and his interpretation of Lin's comments. Lin is saying, you're right. I'm listening. As someone who has fought for representation, fought to have my stuff seen, is now dealing with a film that crashed and burned at the box office because people didn't go see it for numerous reasons. And I wanted to have this film be a celebration of representation. I understand your anger. I understand your pain. And he's doing the thing that we've talked about since the first second of the show, which is listening, being open to receive other people's ideas, hearing their point of view, and being willing to put his ego aside and say, I hear you. I'm sorry. I will do better on the next project. And that's a positive. It used to be a good thing to point out these things to people, even within their own community, as they're representing their own community, to be more aware of these things. It didn't used to be a negative. Okay? Let's keep going.
This is what I was talking about with Nikki. Please stop the apologizing. You're the guy who made the founding fathers black and Hispanic.
That's a great point.
I don't
give
think
it to him
you
there.
have
It's a great
to
point.
apologize to Twitter. For fuck's sake. This is why people hate Democrats. It's cringy.
Yeah. So there it is. There's what he had to say. And it's so frustrating to have a old ass white man who has been getting more and more crotchety as he's gotten older. And this was the guy that was all about inclusivity and don't judge porn and don't judge anybody who does anything and open the door to Republicans and open the door to Ann Coulter and let me smoke my weed wherever I want. Let me talk about women however I want, sleep with multiple women, go to the Playboy Mansion. Don't infringe on my freedom. Freedom of expression, First Amendment. And this is the same son of a bitch who's sitting here complaining about people making another person aware, or Latinos making another person aware in his community about how people are taking what he's saying. And this is unfortunate to see that. And there's more to this as well. There's a little more to this where he goes a little deeper into what he's trying to say about this situation with cancel culture. He is going off. He goes off about cancel culture. He goes off about how it's ruining everything. And of course, he talks to Nikki Glaser about, look, I like Nikki Glaser. Nikki Glaser is incredible. I don't have a problem with Nikki Glaser. She's brilliant, very funny. I'm not going to say anything against Nikki Glaser. She's incredibly funny. And she tells her truth. And I respect it madly for sure. So, I mean, this is where I get into a situation where it's like, okay, well, there are certain people you have to factor in. As a woman, I'm not going to tell her as a man, even as a person of color, a male person of color, I'm not going to tell Nikki Glaser what she should or shouldn't say or what her opinion should or shouldn't be in these situations. But you listen to what he's saying here, and he is completely using Lin-Manuel Miranda to push his agenda about the situation. He, instead of being open to listening to it, he is shutting it down. And Tiffany Cross on MSNBC, she went after him on her show, The Cross Connection. She said, okay, Bill Maher has been whack for some time. She called the comedian painfully out of touch. She mentioned his use of the N-word, featuring panels that had mostly white commentators, and characterized his monologues as stale and corny. Now, she said this also that, Miranda wrote on social media what he said. Then Cross praised Miranda for his gracious and appropriate apology for accidental colorism in the film. Yeah, and that exists. Hey, listen, if you're going to have unconscious racism, you're going to give me that nonsense, then accidental colorism must also be able to exist. And Cross kept going, and this is true. She said, this is why allies get the side eye sometimes. Bill Maher, you do not get to tell people of color what they should or should not be offended by. Stay in your lane, Slim. And I absolutely agree with her. And she went on to say you should stop giving people like Sharon Osbourne and Tommy Lauren a platform and have more diverse panels of people who can explain colorism to you and systemic racism. It's so true. Have you ever watched Bill Maher when someone contradicts Bill Maher? Oh, boy. Oh, boy. It's an issue when he gets contradicted. It's a whole big deal. He gets super upset and all this. And he said, this is what he said at the end. I don't want to play because I'm already probably going to get in trouble for playing that whole clip, even though I got it off Twitter. But he went further on to say in that piece that just got cut off for a minute after a minute and a half, do I think that he really thinks he should apologize? I don't. That's him now speaking for Lin-Manuel Miranda, saying that Lin-Manuel Miranda's apology is not authentic, that he thinks that Lin-Manuel didn't actually want to apologize, that he only did it to save himself and his brand and the movie and all of that in his community as a creator. He can't possibly think that a human being can hear the complaints from people within his own community and go, you know what, you're right. I made a mistake here. I will address it. Absolutely next movie, be more aware of it. Thank you for bringing it to my attention. No. For Bill, who is all about branding for his stuff, he's now saying that Lin-Manuel didn't actually mean the apology. He said, I think that he just wants to avoid the news cycle, and I don't blame him. That's what he said. And he said, and I mean, that's what I'm saying. He just wants to, so that's what he's saying. He's saying there's no authenticity to the apology. He just wants to avoid the news cycle. Such horseshit. What the fuck does he know about Lin? Has he called Lin-Manuel Miranda? Did he talk to Lin-Manuel Miranda? Did he bring him on to the show to address this situation? No, he didn't. And he said, after he said that thing about Democrats and cringy, which is so funny, him saying that someone else says something that's cringy, him of all people. He said, I mean, he's a Latino making a Latino movie with a Latino cast. Not good enough. Nothing is ever good enough for these people. They're like children. We don't raise our children right. There he goes. He goes to the old man with the football in the groin situation here. We don't raise our children right, and it's reflected in the media. No one ever tells their children, shut the fuck up, sit down, listen to your elders, stop bitching. People are going to have to stand up to these bullies. He's calling disenfranchised people who for the first time ever in the history of this country, have multiple avenues for their voices to be heard, for their issues that have been long gestating for decades in this country in terms of representation, respect, stereotypical approaches, racism, and prejudice. He's calling them bullies. A white man is calling people of color who are correctly calling out Lin-Manuel for representation in this situation. Correctly, but by correctly, I mean there's validity to their complaints. He is the one telling them that they're bullies. He's saying that people are going to have to stand up to these bullies. What, you didn't see that at the January 6th insurrection? You don't see that at a MAGA rally in Ohio over the weekend? Those are the people standing up to these quote-unquote bullies. Those are the actual bullies. Those are the actual bullies. He says, because that's what it is, bullying. It's, I can make you crawl like a dog and I enjoy it. What a perception he has of these people, that they want to make Lin-Manuel Miranda, this figuratively, but still the point is there. He wants to, he thinks that they want to make Lin-Manuel Miranda crawl like a dog and enjoy it. It's so ridiculous when you hear this stuff from Bill Maher. It's so frustrating. Because I used to watch Bill Maher religiously for years in the 2000s. He stood up to Republicans. He called out Trump all 4 years. He did all these things. But as he's made this turn and gotten older, and this idea of quote-unquote cancel culture, which I call accountability culture, has become a thing because he's a stand-up, because his friends are getting impacted by this shit, it's all this crotchety old white anger about it. And not even old. Some of the young people are complaining about it. A lot of comedians bitch about this. And Cat Williams put them all in their place when he had his recent quote where he was like, if you can't work non-blue, maybe you should get out of the profession. Man's a established, popular, successful comedian. So his opinion carries weight. It's more valid than some dude on YouTube like me with his own show. He's done it for years. I've done, 3 sets? I got no room to talk in terms of telling him what to say or not to say. My approach is stop. You're the ones that won't sit down and shut up and listen. That's the irony of his comment, is he's saying that these people have grown up like impertinent children. Probably the same people who wrote the shitty notes that he read off of to talk about in the Heights, not the Heights, in the Heights. And so he's saying, and of course people cheered him because, when they're at his show, sometimes they become sheep in this and start cheering. But he says, we don't raise our children right, and it's reflected in them. He doesn't even have fucking kids, this guy. He is a bachelor, a self-professed bachelor. He doesn't even have fucking kids. He says, no one ever tells their children, shut the fuck up, sit down, listen to your elders, stop bitching. Motherfucker wants to go back to the 40s and the 50s. This is what he is becoming in front of our eyes, a super Republican. Well, maybe not even Republican, but a super old-timey guy who wants to yank the country after talking all this progressive shit for numerous decades on politically incorrect. And then on this, now all of a sudden he wants to drag the country back to the 50s. Why? Because he doesn't like how other people are pushing progress and their issues and their progressive points of views, because it bothers his friends and it bothers him. Well, fuck you. Your progressive points of view, your progressive approach to the world probably pissed off a lot of other people. That's what progressive politics is supposed to do. It's supposed to wake people up to the truth. You need to be woken up to the truth. If you don't want to, it's not about woke either. Maybe I shouldn't even use that fucking word because people put such negative connotations on that word. It's more a matter of open your eyes. Why don't you shut the fuck up, sit down, listen to other people, and stop bitching on your show? Why don't you try doing that? Like you asked other people to do when you were pushing your progressive issues about marijuana, about sexuality or sexual stuff, about your democratic policies all through Trump's time. Why don't you do what you're telling other people to do? And I think a number of other people on their forums and other people on their shows, people create this, what do you call it? Factory of offense. They need to have new products to deliver every week or two so that people will still come into the store and buy their shit. I'm talking about the Tuckers and the Sean Hannitys and the Laura Ingrams. All those people need to create new products of anger to sell to their audiences. Right now it's critical race theory. And who knows what it'll be in 2 weeks. It'll be something else in 2 weeks, right? The FBI was involved in the January 6th insurrection. If you saw the video of what was it? Not Jake Tapper, I forget the CNN reporter's name, Jim Acosta, talking to Marjorie Taylor Greene and asking her for the evidence that the FBI is involved. That dum-dum can't even remotely offer any evidence at all, not even a shred of evidence. It's just stumbling around, awkwardly saying the repeating Fox News sound bites. That's all they do now. And this is a weird partnership here amongst their audience and themselves. I will repeat the Fox News approved sound bites. You will clap and cheer. And both of us are in on the fact that none of us believe this nonsense. We just want to be back in control of the country. It's a shame to see. It's a shame to see. Oh, all right. Anyway. Thank you, Mark. My brother Mark Sloan is in here. He says, Maher is awful. Always has been. Thank you. Well, I won't say he always has been. Look, in case Bill, by some stretch of the imagination, watches this, again, I will say, I was a big fan of Bill Maher all through the 2000s. It's only in the last few years that I've seen him like just change. It's like watching Dennis Miller become a raging conservative. You go, Dennis Miller was one of the most liberal people, but 9/11 changed him apparently. So too many people are so upset about having certain things pointed out to them. It's like, I thought you guys were tough. You act like a bunch of wusses having this stuff pointed out to you and you being unable to be like, you know what? That makes sense. You're right. But no, your brand is not to allow that stuff, not to allow progress, not to allow progressive point of views. Your brand is not to hear the other side and adjust point of views and find some validity in some of the complaints. No, your brand is to be like, you ain't going to tell me what to say and what to do. This goes for a lot of those talking heads out there and a lot of people who are way more successful than I am and way more popular than I am on their shows with a microphone for millions of listeners pushing their bullshit. And I wonder, where is the person who will counter those people? Where is the counter to Maher? Where's the counter to Hannity? Don Lemon ain't the counter. Jake Tapper ain't the counter. We need someone passionate, aggressive, smart, with a great crew behind them to go at these people day and night. I like Rachel Maddow. She's good. But we need more people who are able to look at both points of views, by the way. I think that's what it is. I don't want to bring up just CNN or MSNBC. We need someone in the middle here who will call out Democrats and Republicans and everything in between and highlight it. That's what's important here. That's how you're going to unify the country. Someone needs to come along who can do that. Get a platform to do that. Get millions of people to listen to them do that. That's the key. Listen to women and their points of view. Listen to women of color and their points of view. Listen to men of color. Listen to people of color overall and hear their experiences and talk about their experiences. You can still make it funny. You can still make it topical. You can still make it gritty and cool. Find a way to do it without doing tokenism. And those of you who know what I'm talking about when I say tokenism. Who's this? Don't Tread on Me says, can you please wish my friend a happy birthday? His name is Nick Gurr. I don't know you, bro, so I don't know. So Dalton Johnson says, Impel Truth is back. No, Dalton, no. This is just a segment of the show. We talked about Star Wars. We talked about Black Widow. We're still talking about In the Heights, and it's connected to In the Heights. So it's entertainment, Dalton. Oh, boy, Don't Tread on Me is spamming us right now. Sean? What are you doing? Why are you not paying attention? Here, I'll block him. I'll do your job for you, Sean. I know he's probably watching the Yankees game. Are they losing right now? Or who's ahead? Let's see if I got any Streamlabs that have come through here. We got some super chats. Let's see the super chats. We got 150 of you watching us right now. Please hit that like button. Give us some love. If you're watching later, drop a comment. Keep it civil. You can still be upset if you don't like what I'm saying, but keep it civil. You can do that. I believe in you. You can be civil in your conversations. Let's see. What's the first one? Is it? Adelia Cunningham. Hey, Adelia, good to see you. Says, watched In the Heights with my Dominicana BFF. Noted colorism issues as she'd lived there, but still loved it. She cried during Garden of Valley. That was fantastic. Said first time her flag was displayed positively on the screen. No drugs, no gangs. Yeah. God forbid we have a movie that breaks those fucking stereotypes. And yes, the accidental colorism is there, but just like numerous movies that have existed for white people and black people through decades in this country, that you might not be comfortable with some of the things that are said now in retrospect in 2021. I'd like us to have a successful movie. We can go back. You know what? Would have been great to have have more representation of the Latinos in this film. But it's a damn good movie. It was successful. And it opened the door to create all these other things. We didn't get that here. And it really damn well should have. And it's heartbreaking that we didn't. Heartbreaking. Thank you. And please, Adelia, tell your friend much love. And I love that she loved the movie and didn't allow the colorism issues, which are authentic, didn't allow her to keep her from enjoying the movie, which is great. And if you did have issues with it that kept you from enjoying the movie, that's also great as well. That's your experience, and you have every right to have that experience. Simon Section says, speaking of Latino representation, how was your process of making a Latino superhero comic book? If you do, and I hope have any creative control, are you tempted to make the Latino have a military past? Oh, absolutely. I think that would be brilliant. because then you could explore Latino issues in the military. Now, we've seen, of course, Soldier Story. That's a great exploration of black soldiers in World War II. We've seen Glory. We've seen a number of films and TV shows that have focused on people in the military who are black, African American. Let's have Latinos now kind of explore this situation, what our experiences were like in the military. The thing about Latinos is because we have a high number of members that are a high number of conservatives in our crew, in our community, it allows us to kind of straddle the line between both sides here. And so we can have these conversations and also throw in the Latin experience in this country. So yeah, I think it would be absolutely fantastic. If I could come up with a name and maybe could work on, my friend Michael from the Geek Buddies, he certainly knows a number of animators, and certainly I know a number of animators. It's about me maybe working on the script and figuring out how you even write a comic book. And if there's anyone who's watching or listening that has experience writing a comic, I know Jason Inman does, but he's super busy, and Ashley does too. They're both incredibly busy. But if there's anyone out there who's listening who knows the ABCs of writing a comic book that has sold and they've been successful with it, please reach out to me. I'm happy to do a class, do a workshop, or to be schooled by you and learn how to do it. Maybe can create the first Latino superhero that isn't someone else's superhero first, like Blue Beetle or Miles Morales, who I love. I love Reyes and Miles Morales, but I'd love one to be his own or her own thing, But I'm also loving Sasha Calle's Supergirl, so I love that idea too. I'm open to it all. Yeah, Miles Morales is half Latino, but he's also Spider-Man, and Spider-Man was originally by Peter Parker. Our own superhero from nuts to bolts. Is that how it is? From nuts to bolts. That's what I'm throwing out there. All right. America Chavez. That's right. That's true. But we haven't seen her yet. Hopefully we'll be seeing her soon in the MCU. I think that is coming. So that could be fun. All right. Let's see here. What else have we got? Another one that came through. No, that's it so far for the Streamlabs and the Super Chats. Here's around the corner into the last 20 minutes of the show. Mark says, yeah, all the data and surveys show trying to group people with Cuban, Mexican, Puerto Rican backgrounds together doesn't work. Yeah, you can't group every Spanish-speaking country together. You can't. Look, I know Jamaicans who don't identify with the black experience in America. They don't see themselves as that. And that's the thing. So every community has a different experience. And Latino community is unique in this way because we will turn on each other depending on what country you're from sometimes. And that's the unfortunate thing. There's a lot of pride. You may not know this. Maybe no one's ever told you. But Latinos are a proud people. And we're very proud of our nations. And so it becomes the thing when you have these conversations with people of different nations. They can't always come together. You cannot create a unified backstory, which is why that Carnival scene in the Heights, in case Bill's watching, is so incredible. The one that Adelia Cunningham brought up and mentioned with her friend. That whole dance sequence, if you just don't even show the flags, the dance choreography, the singing, the staging, the direction, all of it is incredible. Then you throw in the flags, which shows multiple Latino countries being represented in that moment or in that scene, is phenomenal, and it's something we've rarely seen. And it's heartbreaking that even my own people didn't go in large numbers to see this movie. We are 40% of the repeat business in movie theaters, yet we did not go to see In the Heights. And I don't think it was colorism issues. I think maybe perhaps within our own community, there are a large numbers of people who be like, you know what? I lived that experience. I don't need to see a movie about it. And that's unfortunate because the first response should be, I want to support this so we can get more Latino movies like this. I'm sorry. Not should be. It could have been. That could have been the response. Yeah, Major Laser said, my Nigerian in-laws definitely don't identify as African Americans. Yeah. It's different experience for everybody depending on where they're from, and what they're attached to in their own minds. All right, we've got about 20 minutes left in the show. I think that was all the issues I wanted to bring up. is there anything else that you guys want to talk about? If you want to send in a Streamlab or a super chat here over the next few minutes, I am open to discuss. Let's open it up to a little bit of a Q&A over the next 20 minutes if you want. Thank you very much for all the Streamlabs and the super chats tonight. Really mean a lot for you all to support the show and support the things that I'm creating here on the Outlaw Nation. As I said, look for my, yes, I forgot. The Many Saints of Newark. I put it on the thing. I got to talk about that. I was so caught up in talking about Bill Maher thing. So the Many Saints of Newark trailer dropped today. Thank you, Sean. Appreciate Sean coming through. One producing thing you did correct tonight. Thank you, Sean. I appreciate it. You're the best. He's laughing right now. I am going to drop my trailer reaction tomorrow morning for Many Saints of Newark. I already recorded it tonight. Had some audio syncing issues, so just had to correct that, and then I'll drop. I was going to drop it tonight, but the audio syncing just kind of distracted me. Plus, I got the Black Widow link, so I had to watch that this afternoon because there's a time frame on that. I'm also going to watch the Forever Purge movie tomorrow. There's a new CrossFit documentary that's coming out. They sent me that doc. I'm going to watch that. And then there's another movie that I got to send the link for. Oh, Tomorrow War is coming out on July 2nd, so get ready for that. Thank you, Russell Amador. He says, "You're the man, Rocha." Thank you, Russell. I appreciate that. Appreciate that, brother. Appreciate that madly. So the Many Saints of Newark. So let me say this. When this was announced, I'm a massive The Sopranos fan. I'm a massive fan of that show. When this was announced, I was like, ugh, do I really want to see a prequel about these characters, specifically Tony Soprano? Because who is going to be able to embody a young Tony Soprano, a young, in essence, James Gandolfini? He was such a unique actor, unique presence, unique human being. Who is going to bring him to life? And then they said, it's his son, his actual son, Michael Gandolfini. That is who is playing James Gandolfini, Tony Soprano, in The Many Saints of Newark. And I was even more like, wait, he's never acted before? What? So I was nervous about it. And then also, that Entourage situation made me nervous about it too, because that movie, when it came out, when it was getting shot, people were like all about seeing the Entourage movie. Then when it came out, we had moved on as a society, and it really was there to be seen how much we had moved on from that movie. It was terrible. So I was worried that we've kind of moved on from The Sopranos. It's been a long time since that finale. You may not want to know how long it's been since that finale if you're a person who doesn't want to know how old they are. But we have moved on from that finale, so I was worried about this. But, they said David Chase was involved. He was the executive producer here. I think he wrote the script as well. Alan Taylor is going to direct it. Alan Taylor did like 9 episodes of The Sopranos. He did like 7 or 8 episodes of Game of Thrones, some of the best episodes of Game of Thrones. He certainly directed a lot of them in season 2, or a few of them in season 2. But he also did Terminator Genesis. So for me, there was some trepidation, for lack of a better term. But then I watched the trailer today, and I liked it. I liked it. I like what we got to see. I think his son does a good job of having the mannerisms of his father down in certain spots. Alessandro Nivola plays Moltisanti, Dickie Moltisanti, who is Tony Soprano's uncle, who Tony Soprano kind of follows. Or learns from, shall we say. We'll bring everything up. I want to bring it all up so I don't miss out on any of this. There it is. Okay. And it's really great to see what he was able to do with this. Alessandro Nivola. I really enjoyed what he created here. I really enjoyed what he put together. Let me see. I want to make sure I get everybody here because you've got Corey Stoll as well. Here we go. Yeah, here it is. Alessandro Nivola. He is playing Richard Dicky Moltisanti. Then you have Leslie Odom Jr. is in this. John Bernthal, Corey Stoll. Billy Magnuson is playing Paulie Walnuts. Billy Magnuson from Aladdin. I just recently saw Made for Love, that first season 1 with him and Cristiano Milioti. It's fantastic. If you haven't watched that on HBO Max, I can't recommend it enough. Stellar. And numerous other things. Billy Magnuson. Michaela De Rossi, John Magaro, and it has Ray Liotta and Vera Farmiga playing Tony's mom. So, Vera Farmiga, who's beautiful, playing Tony's mom in the movie. And it's all about the prequel of him. And this is all about the DeMeo family at the time and the race issues that were happening in Newark, New Jersey. And him learning from Dicky Moltisanti how to be a gangster and whether he should be a gangster or not. So all I'll tell you is I like the trailer. And I didn't anticipate liking the trailer at all. At all. So surprising to me overall. Now I'm interested. Now I want to see what they got with this. And we shall see. All right. Let's see. And they do play the Sopranos song at the end of the trailer, which is nice. The few seconds of the woke up this morning. I got myself a gun, which I appreciate. All right. Jim Sandlin coming in says, Outlaw, I grew up in NOLA and a diehard Saints fan. They are my number one, but I live in Arizona now and I root for them. Is that okay? If I root for a team in my local market, am I a bandwagoner? Well, Jim, let me put this to bed for you. It is a free fucking country, and that comes with no restrictions as long as as long as you're not breaking the law or anything like that or violating someone's personal space. It comes with no restrictions. Only other people want to put you in a box or make you call you a bandwagon or whatever. If you're confident in who you are as a person, confident in what you want to do, confident in cheering for a team, then fuck them. What do you care? Do what you want to do, bud. I went to the Padres game the other night. I was cheering for the Padres. I've been cheering for the Dodgers in LA for the last 20 years. I've cheered against the Padres multiple times. I've been down in San Diego dressed in a Dodgers shirt cheering against the Padres in the stadium. But I live here now. And I went to the stadium. It's a beautiful stadium. The hot dogs were choice. Their Bavarian pretzel, stellar. It was great. And I was cheering on the team. It was nice to cheer for Fernando Tatis Jr. It was nice. I enjoyed it, seeing all those different players. They lost, but it was still a fun time at the ballpark, being back amongst people and seeing the game. So I say to you, if you want to cheer for Arizona, feel free. Doesn't mean you're still not going to love the New Orleans Saints. I love the United States national team in football, soccer, whether it be female or male. I love them both. But I also love the England national team, male or female. And I cheer for them. But when they play the United States, I cheer for the United States against them. So for you, I would imagine you're going to cheer for New Orleans against Arizona if they ever play each other. But since you live in Arizona, you got every right to cheer for Arizona. Kyler Murray, Cliff Kingsbury, and the great receivers they're picking up there, please. It's fantastic. All right. Thank you, Jim. Appreciate the support. Simon Section here. I know you're a Transformers fan, but how do you feel about the upcoming Beast Wars movie? Do you have a favorite character? Mine is Rat Trap because you don't rat on a rat. No, I love the idea of the Beast Wars. Or was it Rise of the Beasts? It's going to be based on the Beast Wars. They're setting it in the 90s. So I'm hearing this from a number of people that they're setting it in the 90s. Haskell, yes, I am a Yankees fan first and foremost. Nobody touches that. I never cheer for anybody against my Yanks, ever. Not the Dodgers, not the Padres, not anybody. Not even the Nationals, who I cheer for as well because I grew up in DC, Virginia. So, but yeah, no, I believe the pinstripes always. That's my first. I go way back with the pinstripes. I don't want to say how far I go back, but you know how far I go back. All right, Jackson. Let's see. It's right. I said in the 90s though. I'm a little worried about that. Are they gonna connect up the Bumblebee stuff with Haley Steinfeld, that movie? Are they going to connect that up to what you see here with Beasts, the Rise of the Beasts? I wonder. And also, can we get William Bibiani a cameo in the Rise of the Beasts? I mean, it's Beast Wars. I mean, I feel like Bibb should have a cameo in this movie somewhere. Somehow, someone's got to figure out how to get Bibbs a cameo in this movie. But yeah, I'm excited for it. I love it. I love that we're going to get this happening, 300 years in the future. Yet it's set in the 90s. I don't know. I'm confused about how that, because maybe not, because the Beast Wars is set 300 years in the future, but they're setting this film in the 90s. So I don't know how they're going to make that work, to be honest with you. You've got dinosaurs and all these different characters that are involved in Beast Wars. You've got Megatron is still a part of this thing. Was it Optimus Primal? I love that. I actually love the Megatron more from Beast Wars than the Megatron from the regular series. I love that he's got that Tyrannosaurus Rex or dinosaur head as a hand. I dig that. So, so I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited to see it. And I think it's got a great crew behind it. I mean, Stephen Caple Jr., Creed 2 grows on me the more I watch it. Other than the proposal scene, which I think is a bit clumsy and whatever, everything else around it, that scene is great. Everything in that movie before and everything in the movie after is stellar. And I think Michael B. Jordan's fantastic and Tessa Thompson's great. So Stephen Caple Jr. directed that. He's directing this. And the two leads, Anthony Ramos from In the Heights, who was great in The Heights. Dominique Fishback, who was fantastic in Judas and the Black Messiah. So you've got two people of color leading the film, directed by a person of color. And that's a positive. Let's see this point of view on Transformers. Michael Bay, white guy. Travis Knight, white guy. Let's see what we got here from a different point of view into the world of Transformers. There are geeks of all colors, and there have always been geeks of all colors who loved those properties. It's just that it's been almost all white shooting or making TV shows or movies about these geek things. So let's open the door and see what we can get here. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to it big time. Let's see. I wish I still had my Cheetor action figure. Yeah, Corey. Cheetor. Hell yeah. Megatron is better than Galvatron. Beast Wars Megatron was okay. All right, Joseph. All right. You want to die on that hill? We shall fight to the death, my friend. We shall fight to the death. Yeah, we all grew up watching the same stuff. Exactly, Marjo32. But we haven't all been able to sit at the table to make that stuff, have we? And it's great to see that the doors are opening overall for people of color and for women to be making this stuff. I mean, this is what I really have been enjoying about Loki. Having Kate Herron talking about what she's doing with Loki, having Sophia DiMartino in there as Lady Loki going toe-to-toe with Loki has been great. A woman's point of view on this story. And then, of course, last week, coming out as bisexual. Like, it's no big deal. And that's great. So, yes, this is where it should be. Yeah, Ron Perlman will be voicing Optimus Primal. So, that voice is built. That voice is built to do it. Mark Sloan says Dinobots was brilliant. Kids love dinos and Transformers. It worked on me. Hell yeah, it did. And remember, Beast Wars, as I've said this, in case you haven't watched any of the shows I've been on, Beast Wars saved Transformers. It came along when those G1 Transformers series were, people weren't watching them as strongly anymore or as much anymore. People were kind of losing their connection to the franchise. And then Beast Wars came along and reignited people's passion for Transformers. So for me, I find some poetic, not justice, but there's some poetic symmetry here that the Beast Wars, Rise of the Beast, which is based on Beast Wars, is coming in to sort of essentially save the Transformers brand because the fans hated, or some of the fans hated the Michael Bay version of the films. And people stayed away from Bumblebee in terms of the amount of money that it made versus the amount of money the other films had made. So this is what I see happening. And I'm happy for it. I'm really happy for it. Oh, yeah. Waspinator was awesome. All right. So I think that's it, unless there's another Streamlab or anything else that's come through here. Oh, here we go. Simon Section sent me something. Oh, Doug DeVoe said, great show today, John. Loving your solo shows. Just letting you know, I sent you an email a couple of days ago about our scheduled chat. Thanks so much. Doug, I never got it. Did you really send it? I've never got it. You know, and I was sad to see you move down. I understand, but I never got the email, bro. Are you sure you sent it to johnstevenroca@gmail.com? Please send it there. And Major Leisure says, in the Heights, what country of origin was the hairdresser from, the woman who started Carnival? I don't remember, brother. I saw it a few weeks ago, but I can maybe take a look at that later and find out. But wasn't that Daphne Rubin Vega from Rent? Wasn't that her who starts Carnival, starts the scene? I think she's Puerto Rican as well. Let me see. I think she's the one that starts it. She's Panamanian. I'm sorry. She is Panamanian American. Yes, sorry. But she's the original Mimi from Rent. They recast her with Rosario Dawson because she was pregnant, but she was the original Mimi in Rent. Yes, but she's fantastic. Yes, she was born in Panama City, Panama. So there you go. Yeah, so she's from Panama. Both parents from Panama. She has a Jewish stepfather. She moved from Panama to the United States when she was only 2 years old. So there you go. But yeah, there you go. So maybe that's her. Yeah, she's Panamanian. So there you go. You get a little Central American representation up in this thing as well. So good stuff overall. Oh, Simon sent in another super chat. Simon, where are you, bud? Grimlock. Oh, Simon says, oh, I already read this one. The Transformers one. What are you talking about, Sean? The Beast Wars? Oh, higher up? All right. If you say so, Sean. I don't know if I believe you. Oh, here it is. All right. Thank you, Sean. I appreciate it. Simon Section says, can't wait for your comparison review between In the Heights and Spielberg's West Side Story. Do you remember the controversy back in the day when Jennifer Lopez was cast to play Selena? Was it still a box office hit? Yeah, it was a hit to a degree. But Jennifer Lopez, it launched Jennifer Lopez for sure as a star. And that's one of the 3 greatest performances she's ever delivered. Out of Sight being the other one and Hustlers being the other one. So, yeah. So I will definitely look at In the Heights. Well, I'll probably do comparison between Spielberg's West Side Story and Jerome Robbins' West Side Story. And then maybe I'll throw in some In the Heights situation. But you cannot compare. People should not say that West Side Story, we have to compare their box office to In the Heights and claim that that's Latino representation. Fuck no. You've got a bunch of white people who have main roles in West Side Story. So that's a different situation. In the Heights was an all Latino cast. It's a different situation completely. Okay. Yes, the Sharks are all Latino in this version, or Latinas in this version of West Side Story. And they weren't in the 1961 version. George Chakiris being the most famous. He won the Oscar, but he's Greek. But he's honorary Latino for what he was able to do representing us in that movie. That's for damn sure. But in this situation, In the Heights is all Latino. So you cannot compare the 2 box office. It's 2 completely different movies. Yes, they're musicals, and yes, there's Latinos in both musicals, but one is all Latino and one is half. And it's just different. And that works on people mentally, for sure. Simon says, I have to say this, but when I first saw Thor Ragnarok, the scene where Hulk is beating the crap out of Thor, and then we see flashes of Odin and Thor released his power, I first thought of you, and I was jealous. What were you jealous of, me or Thor or Hulk or Odin? Who were you jealous of? I wonder, Simon, who were you jealous of? Oh, Hulk is beating the crap out of Thor, and then we see flashes of Odin and Thor released his power. I first thought of you, and I was jealous. Did I release lightning? I love that. But that's one of my favorite scenes in that movie, for sure. Dude, Thor breaks me in that movie, man. Thor's moment when he goes down on his knees. I'm gonna get emotional talking about it. And he says, I'm not as, when he's talking to Odin, who has passed away, and he has that vision as he's there with Hela. And he says to him, I'm not as good as you. And he stops. He goes, no, you're better. And that decimated me, That's something that I've always kind of felt with my father, that I'm not, as my father has flaws, but his ability to take care of his family and work hard and do all the things that he had to do to kind of, take care of his family and take care of his wife and help us get through life. He took on more challenges than I have. And I've always, and he said that before he passed in 2008 from cancer. He's told me how proud he was of me, but I think he'd be even more proud of me today and the man I've become and the incredible Lady Outlaw, who's my partner in life, and all the things I built. Because I didn't believe in myself for a very long time about how much talent I had, and everybody and people would tell me I had talent for certain things. I didn't believe in myself. And it wasn't, ironically, till he passed that I began the journey of understanding what that meant and turning that around. It wasn't easy. And I think he'd be really proud. And my mom watches all my YouTube shows, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, all of them. It blows my mind. And she's always giving me critiques and giving me her point of view and what Dad would have liked or not liked and whatever. And it means a lot. So, that moment breaks me for sure. So I can't wait to see it with with the Lady Outlaw for our watch along. So jealous of your love of your dearly departed father. Yeah, that's what you're jealous of. Oh, fair. That's just what I was talking about, Simon. So, yeah. My pops was a strong one. My pops was, a tough mother effer, man. And when cancer came for him at 72 years old, what it did to his body and how it ravaged him for 2 years, and he ballooned out from the water retention, the mesothelioma. It was horrific. And that none of the court cases ever came out in our favor because my father didn't keep meticulous records as a person who worked around asbestos, who worked around mesothelioma, worked around General Pacific. We tried to sue General Pacific because there's mesothelioma guidelines that you can follow to sue these companies. I went with my father on numerous jobs as a young kid. I remember those cans being in the trucks, and we worked in the jobs and whatever when my mother was working, because we're the son of immigrants. My mom, my dad had to work. And so sometimes in summer, my dad would take me with him when I was a young kid. And I remember playing on those cans and hanging out and reading and whatever. And the judge ruled against us twice because my father didn't have meticulous records of his work as a business owner, as a house painter. And it broke me. It broke me because we lost my father and didn't receive any compensation for how he was murdered by those careless motherfuckers who used asbestos back then. And fuck General Pacific for that. Fuck them forever for that, for killing my father and never, making it up to us in any way, shape, or form. And I'll never forgive him for that, and I see all those commercials, and if we had done these court cases while my father was alive in the last year of his life, maybe we'd have had a better result. We still wouldn't have had the records necessarily, but maybe we'd had a better result to have him, do depositions in person. But in the end, it didn't work out that way, and we didn't want to put him through that. He could barely sit up. We didn't want to put him through that, so. But that's the situation. It sucks. It was the worst. It was the worst. Yeah. So, anyway, thank you, Mark. I appreciate it. It says 100%, Rocha. Everything you've done last 5 years, especially, has been amazing. Thank you, Mark. Thank you very much. And I've got Razor says, Rocha, you're my favorite uncle. Oh, thanks, man. Thanks. You were the one. Thank you, Nature. Much love to you, brother. Anyway, all right, let's get on out of here. I don't want to depress anybody. Let's go. That was 2008, man. It's crazy. 13 years ago. It's crazy. 13 years without my father on the planet. But I still talk to him. I still sense him around me. I still sense his power. When I play in the Schmodown, I always have his ring sitting on the mantle in front of me when I'm playing. And I honor him with every game I play. And anyone who says otherwise can go fuck themselves to hell. Anyone. Anyone who thinks otherwise, that I don't play that game, every game, with the spirit of my Father and play it correctly, can go fuck themselves to hell. That's my honest truth. I just want to say that, put that out there for anybody who's confused about it. All right, I love you guys. You guys are the best, and thank you for hanging out with me tonight. Simon Section, one last super chat says, to quote how I feel about you and your work, just listen to the first 8 lines of the Doobie Brothers taking it to the streets. Hold on, what is that? Let me find that. I love it. I love taking it to the streets. That's such a great fucking song. My Lady Outlaw is a big fan of the Doobie Brothers. Let me just tell you that right now. You don't know me, but I'm your brother. I was raised here in this living hell. You don't know my kind in your world. Fairly soon the time will tell. You telling me things you're going to do for me. I ain't blind, and I don't like what I think I see. Taking it to the streets. Yeah, protest song. Take this message to my brother. You will find him everywhere, wherever people live together, tied in poverty's despair. You telling me the things you're going to do for me. I ain't blind, and I don't like what I think I see. Great stuff, man. Great stuff, Simon. Thank you very much for bringing us back up, man. I appreciate it. Gary Smith said, my dad died 14 years ago. I still cry for him. Hell yeah, man. Hell yeah, brother. Hell yeah. And to anybody who's lost a parent or a loved one recently, I send you my heart and my love and my comfort and my strength, because it's not an easy journey. It does get better. It does get better, but it's not an easy journey. And I hope you find that space when you get there of appreciating the time you did have versus the time you lost. If you obsess about the time you lost, you're never going to get past it. And go on your own journey. Go on your own journey. Find your time to that spot. It took me 3 years to find that spot. But it can happen, and you can appreciate the time you did have with them and remember those times and remember those memories, as opposed to worrying about the time you didn't have with them. So it's important. It's powerful. All right, let's get on out of here. Thank you so much. You guys are awesome. I love you madly. Haskell, I'm reading your comment. My heart goes out to you, brother. My heart goes out to you, brother. Definitely, my man. I love you guys. Thank you very much for hanging out with me tonight. Thank you for putting up with my rants and my diatribes. And I hope I entertained you and gave you a new point of view, maybe to look at things, or a new way to look at the world. Or maybe I pissed some of you off. Let me know in the comments section below, positive or negative. Keep it civil, but certainly let me know in the positive or negative down there in the comments section what you thought about stuff we talked about tonight, your points of views, your approach to it all. Make sure you hit that like button. And make sure you're subscribed to the channel. We're doing more and more things here on the channel, so please subscribe to the channel. Hit that bell so you know when we're dropping new content. And share this on your social media as well. Tell people about it. And please watch my reviews. Watch my trailer reactions. I'm trying to get those numbers up so that people see them and enjoy them. They're fun. I try to make them as fun as possible. I'm finding my voice more and more with those. So come along on the journey. Would love to at least get 1,000 views on those. Haven't been able to cross 1,000 on a lot of them. So just kind of building it back up. So I'm hoping you guys give it a chance and watch some of those, even for a minute. Give it a view for a minute so it counts. I would appreciate it. You guys are awesome. I love you madly. Take care of yourselves. Be well. Remember what I say at the end of every episode. Whatever you need to do to get through the next second, next minute, next hour, next day, next week, next month, next year. I want you to do that, because you never know what's waiting for you on the other side. You never know who is waiting for you on the other side, and how much your world can change if you just find that way to put one foot in front of the other. And don't tell me you don't know how hard it is. I know. I have been there, my friends. I've been in the darkest of places, and I found my way out. You can too. If you want to, you can too. So I send you all the love and support. Thanks to Sean Barreto for producing tonight and for taking all my ribbing. I always appreciate him taking the time. I'm just busting his balls because we East Coast boys. All right. I love you. Be well, everybody. Take care of yourselves. And don't forget about the Patreon. Sorry, how stupid of me. Patreon.com/John Rocha. We had a fun hangout last night talking about all kinds of things. We hang out. We're making some adjustments. We're bringing back the Patreon shows. We're making some changes to the tiers that I think will be great for everybody involved. It'll streamline stuff. You'll get more access to the things I'm doing and to me. And also you get your money's worth with everything that we're doing. So we're streamlining it all and trying to bring more people into the nation and more people, especially into the Patreon, and cater to what they would like to see and create stuff that they would like to see for sure. So please, thank you all so much. Be well. Patreon.com/John Rocha. Go and get involved in that. And yeah, tomorrow I'm going to announce something that I'm pretty proud of. And I'll let you know on social media for sure. All right. Be well. I love you. Wear your masks. Be safe. Is there anybody I missed? There we go. Okay, cool. Want to make sure I didn't miss anybody. And we'll talk to you next time on another live episode of the Outlaw Nation Show. Peace.